Hello, this is my review, reaction, overall thoughts for Loki Season 2, Episode 2. I've wrote down a few of what my thoughts were, what I thought positives were, what I thought the negatives were, what I liked about this episode. I'm going to start, I've wrote kind of what happens at the end, so it's a spoiler review. I've wrote Loki and Sylvie and McDonald's, their reunion. We, of course, get to see the finale standoff battle with the Scottish woman, like we see in Game of Thrones, I think season 2. But I'm gonna okay. Let's start at the start of the episode with like Loki and Mobius when they're at the film premiere, trying to find the Brad guy, the Brad Wolf X5 Zaniac guy. I thought that was kind of cool. I thought Loki using his magic, duplicating himself, was kind of cool. We get to see Zaniac. We get to see them attend a film premiere. That all looked pretty cool. I thought Loki multiplying himself was kind of interesting. We see that, of course, in the original Thor film. And then we'll, of course, see it in Thor Ragnarok as well, if I do believe. And then, what else have we got? We of course, get to see Loki torturing Brad in the cube. I thought that was an interesting, different torture scene compared to maybe like a few of the other torture scenes that we've seen in films. That was an interesting one. It looked kind of beautiful. I thought the room, I've wrote down here that the room looked quite nice. The room that was quite like an orangey red, and that was kind of cool. And then, of course, whilst this is happening, we see OB, the actor who was originally in Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom as a child actor, playing Short Round. OB, he won an Oscar earlier on this year. I still haven't looked up his name. He's fixing the temporal loom. He's in his office with like which we see in episode 1 of season 2, when he's like coming down on the ropes and like the chair thing that he's hanging on. I think the design for that room, I don't know if I said this in the episode 1 reaction review, the design for that room is fantastic. I like the overall kind of retro, maybe 80s, 70s perhaps, if my memory serves me correctly. I think that's what you'd describe it as, the aesthetic feel for what OB, where he works at. And then we, of course, get to see... I wrote down here the bright red room. It was like a bright reddish orange for the room where they torture Loki, and then see Brad getting underneath Loki's skin. And then we, of course, get to see the room in which Loki and Mobius are eating pie, and there's that New York reference, and they're talking about how our emotions get the better of us at times. And the design, I want to talk about how the design for that place where Loki and Mobius are having pie, the design for that place was quite beautiful. That was quite a nice design. The art design, the set design, the aesthetic feel, once again, I'm pretty sure you would describe that as 70s, 80s, maybe 50s. Definitely not 90s or 2000s. Definitely, it was from a few decades ago. Trying to figure out what decade exactly, but it's a cool design. The aesthetic feels pretty cool. We get, of course, Loki grilling Mobius because they're trying to basically figure out like what's happening with the timeline now that He Who Remains is gone. But of course, at the end of that episode, we get to see the like time. We get to see like the time branches all being like destroyed. Then we get that line from Hunter B-15. You know, those are people. And then Sylvie. That's just when Sylvie returns to the TVA, and then we get to see Sylvie at the end on top of her car. She briefly comes back, and then we get to see that. We get to see also, and this is in part because of the Scottish woman. I can't remember the Scottish woman's name. I know she was at that meeting when Loki reveals the Kang face behind the artwork. I don't know the character's name. Just know she's got a Scottish accent, and she was in Game of Thrones. She's in another TV show, another Scottish TV show, but I can't remember the name of that one for the life of me. We, of course, get to see that really cool double Loki power move when they like destroy all like the operations facility, if you will, within that big like hangar, big room where they're destroying the branches. And what I mention a negative before I mention a positive, that I didn't really like the Scottish woman. I feel like the Scottish woman was her acting was fine, but I feel like I would just say overall I didn't really like her. She's from the same country that I'm from, but no bias here. Was nothing really special about her. We get to see Loki And then we of course get to see Loki and Sylvia reuniting. I thought the music there was solid, whilst like Brad and Mobius are having a bit of pie. And I think the music, you see Mobius inquiring to Brad about, was it a setup, was it not a setup? And then they start to speculate that it might have actually been a setup, whilst they're in like the retro McDonald's. And I thought, now overall the design for the retro McDonald's was pretty cool. I thought that was nice. And then we, of course, I don't know if I think I might have already mentioned this. No, I don't think I have. But Loki, Sylvie at the end on top of her car when the teenage boy approaches her and she asks him if his mum's picking him up, and they have a brief encounter and she's just chilling on top of her car. I thought just the look of the feel of that scene was quite nice. Just a nice moment. And I would say, as an episode, I would say this one was solid. I would say I wouldn't say it was exceptional or amazing or brilliant or really good. I don't know if I'd say it was really good. There are moments where I just think like the aesthetic feels pretty cool, but I would say it's just more on the positive than it is on the negative. And I think apart from the Scottish woman being a negative, don't really think I've got any other major negatives. I would say maybe the actor for Brad Wolf was kind of cool. Wasn't amazing, wasn't extraordinary, but he was fine. I think I'll end it there. Nothing really much else to say. I think I'll leave it at that. That's my review reaction for Loki Season 2, Episode 2. Thanks for watching.